There is a version of you that speaks only when you close your eyes. It doesn't use words. Exactly. It uses water and hallways and faces you almost recognize. Tonight, you'll discover what that quiet voice has been trying to say and understand why it may be the most honest part of you. Welcome to Get Sleepy Science. Wherever you are right now, perhaps settling into the familiar weight of your pillow, or feeling the quiet of a room that has finally gone still, allow yourself this space. We'll cross the threshold of 100 psychology facts about the subconscious mind in dreams. From the hidden language your sleeping brain has spoken since childhood, to the architecture of meaning built beneath your waking life, to the place where memory, emotion, and identity quietly meet. These gentle journeys through the science of sleep build a quiet community of curious minds. A soft like, a subscribe, or sharing this with someone who lies awake wondering. It helps other restless souls find their way here too, and brings us closer to protecting this space of calm. One peaceful night, one sleepy soul at a time. Let yourself settle completely here. Feel your jaw soften, your breath deepen naturally. You don't need to hold on to any of this information. Just notice that warm, drowsy calm beginning to gather, like your thoughts are slowly losing their edges, dissolving into something softer and slower, drifting toward the peaceful fog of approaching sleep. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. You're floating where memories rest safely in gentle darkness. Let your mind merge with the quiet that already knows. And now we begin. Your subconscious mind never fully sleeps. While your conscious awareness fades each night, a deeper layer of brain activity continues, sorting, signaling, and creating. Dreams are not random noise. They are the subconscious mind's primary language, a form of communication that researchers now understand as deeply structured, emotionally purposeful, and biologically necessary. The question isn't whether your subconscious is speaking to you in dreams. The question is whether you've ever learned to listen. The word subconscious refers to mental processes that occur below the level of conscious awareness. These include memory consolidation, emotional regulation, pattern recognition, and the quiet evaluation of experience. During sleep, and especially during dreaming, these processes become more active, not less. The subconscious, in a sense, takes the wheel when the conscious mind steps back. What it does with that time is one of the most fascinating questions in modern neuroscience. Dreams occur primarily during a sleep stage called REM, rapid eye movement sleep. During this phase, the brain becomes almost as active as it is when fully awake. Heart rate fluctuates, breathing becomes irregular, and the eyes move beneath closed lids. Meanwhile, the muscles of the body remain nearly paralyzed, a protective mechanism that prevents you from physically acting out the movements of your dreams. Your mind is awake inside a body at rest. REM sleep cycles throughout the night, but becomes longer and more vivid in the final hours before waking. A full night of sleep contains between 4 and 6 REM periods. The first lasts only a few minutes. By the final cycle, it may extend to 45 minutes or more. This means the most complex, emotionally resonant dreams often occur closest to dawn, the ones you're most likely to remember upon waking. The subconscious mind communicates in symbols, not sentences. This is not mystical. It is structural. The regions of the brain most active during dreaming are those associated with emotion, visual memory, and spatial navigation, not the language centers. Dreams are built from imagery, sensation, and narrative logic rather than words. When the subconscious has something to express, it reaches for a picture, a feeling, or a scene, not a paragraph. Neuroimaging research, including studies from institutions such as the Max Planck Institute of Psychiatry, has found that dreaming activates the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, with an intensity comparable to the most emotionally engaged waking states. The dreaming brain is not emotionally neutral. It is, in measurable terms, deeply feeling. Dreams are not quiet replays of the day. They are emotionally alive experiences, generated by the part of you that never stops paying attention. One of the most well-supported theories of dreaming is the threat simulation hypothesis, developed by Finnish cognitive neuroscientist Antti Revonsuo. This theory proposes that a core function of dreaming is to simulate emotionally challenging scenarios, allowing the brain to rehearse responses within the safety of sleep. Nightmares, in this light, are not signs of disturbance. They are the subconscious practicing on your behalf, preparing you, quietly, for what waking life may one day ask. The subconscious mind processes emotional memories differently from factual ones. Factual memories, names, dates, sequences, are stored with relative precision. Emotional memories are stored with emphasis on feeling and context, rather than exact detail. This is why a dream might return you to a place that resembles your childhood home but doesn't quite match it. The subconscious has preserved the emotional texture of the memory, not the floor plan. During sleep, the brain undergoes a process called memory consolidation, reinforcing experiences and transferring them into long-term storage. Dreaming appears to play an active role in this process. Studies using functional MRI imaging have shown that brain regions activated by a learning task during the day reactivate during subsequent REM sleep. The subconscious is literally rehearsing what you experienced, reinforcing the pathways that made learning possible, and quietly determining which details are worth carrying forward. So already, 10 facts in, a pattern is emerging. The subconscious mind in dreams is not passive. It is doing something. Evaluating emotional weight, rehearsing responses, consolidating memory. What it tells you in dreams is not random. It is the result of a deeply organized biological intelligence operating beneath the surface of everything you know about yourself. That process has been unfolding your entire life. The content of dreams is shaped significantly by waking emotional life. People experiencing grief, anxiety, major life transitions, or prolonged stress consistently show changes in dream content. More intense imagery, more frequent emotional confrontations, more recurring themes. The subconscious mind appears to mirror the dominant concerns of conscious life, often giving extra attention to what the waking mind has been reluctant to fully examine. Recurring dreams are among the most studied phenomena in dream science. They tend to involve unresolved emotional experiences, situations, or relationships that the subconscious has flagged as incomplete. Research published in the journal Dreaming has found that recurring dreams decrease significantly when the underlying emotional concern is resolved or consciously processed. The subconscious in this sense, is patient. It will return to the same door until someone opens it. The faces in your dreams are almost always people you have seen before, even if you do not recognize them consciously. The human brain does not invent faces from nothing. Every stranger in a dream is drawn from a vast library of visual memories, assembled in new configurations. That unfamiliar figure on a street corner in your dream may be a composite of a neighbor you saw years ago, a face from a photograph, and someone who passed you briefly in a crowd. Your sense of self in dreams is remarkably consistent with your waking identity. Studies using dream reports collected across decades found that dreamers generally behave in ways that reflect their waking personality. Introverted individuals tend to have fewer social interactions in dreams. Emotionally regulated individuals tend to navigate dream challenges with similar calmness. The subconscious does not create an entirely different you. It creates a version of you freed from performance. Dreams frequently revisit formative periods of life, particularly childhood and adolescence. This is not nostalgia. Researchers believe the subconscious returns to these periods because they contain emotional experiences that were never fully processed at the time, either because the developing brain lacked the tools or because circumstances made processing difficult. A dream set in a childhood classroom may have nothing to do with school and everything to do with what you felt there. The experience of falling in a dream, one of the most universally reported dream sensations, is linked to a phenomenon called a hypnic jerk, which occurs at the boundary between wakefulness and sleep. But the falling sensation that continues within established dreams is different. It is often associated by researchers with feelings of transition or uncertainty about an upcoming change. The subconscious translates the emotional experience of instability into the physical sensation of descent. Water is one of the most common dream symbols reported across cultures, and its emotional context varies widely. Calm water tends to appear in dreams during periods of emotional steadiness. Unsettled water tends to correlate with emotional overwhelm. Being underwater frequently accompanies feelings of being burdened in waking life. The subconscious uses water's physical properties as a direct metaphor for emotional states: depth, pressure, clarity, and flow. Houses in dreams are widely understood by sleep researchers and psychologists to represent the self, particularly the mind. Different rooms in dream houses often reflect different aspects of personality or consciousness. Attics tend to appear in dreams about old memories or half-forgotten thoughts. Basements frequently accompany dreams about the deeper subconscious, the unknown, the unexamined. Locked rooms suggest aspects of self that have not yet been explored or acknowledged. The phenomenon of lucid dreaming, becoming consciously aware that you are dreaming while remaining inside the dream, has been scientifically verified through elegant studies in which trained lucid dreamers signaled to researchers using prearranged eye movements while their brain activity was being monitored. In lucid dreams, the prefrontal cortex, the brain's center of self-awareness and decision-making, becomes reactivated during REM sleep, creating a rare state where consciousness and the subconscious operate simultaneously. Research, including studies published in the Journal of Neuroscience, has found a correlation between frequent lucid dreaming and greater metacognitive ability in waking life. The capacity to observe your own thinking as it happens. Whether one produces the other is still being explored, but the connection is consistent. People who become aware within dreams also tend to be more reflective within themselves. The boundary between the observing mind and the dreaming mind may be thinner than it appears. Emotional processing during dreams follows a specific rhythm. Early in the night, dreams tend to involve more recent emotional experiences. Later in the night, dreams begin to integrate older memories with current concerns, a process researchers call cross-memory association. This may explain why a perspective sometimes arrives in the morning that was not available the night before. The subconscious has spent the sleeping hours building bridges between what just happened and everything that came before. The subconscious mind is particularly active in processing social and relational dynamics during dreaming. Studies tracking dream content across populations consistently find that interpersonal scenarios, conversations, reconciliations, and moments of connection dominate dream narratives. This reflects the deep priority the human brain places on social belonging and relational safety. The subconscious is, among many other things, a relationship therapist working without an appointment. The emotion most frequently reported in dreams is not fear, as once thought. More recent large-scale studies using standardized dream report analysis have found that anxiety is the most common dream emotion, followed by sadness, and then curiosity. Positive emotions, including joy, love, and wonder, also appear regularly but are somewhat less frequent overall. This distribution mirrors the waking emotional landscape of modern adult life more closely than researchers might have predicted. People who suppress emotions during the day tend to have more emotionally intense and vivid dreams at night. This finding, replicated in multiple studies including work from the University of California, suggests that the subconscious uses the dreaming state to complete what the conscious mind has set aside. Emotional suppression does not eliminate emotional experience. It defers it, transferring the work to sleep, where the subconscious will attend to it regardless. And so, a quarter of the way through our journey, the answer to our central question is already beginning to take shape. What your subconscious mind is telling you in dreams is this: it is telling you the truth, not the managed version of events, not the edited narrative you present to the world, the unfiltered emotional reality of your inner life. The question is simply whether you are ready to hear it. Let's pause here and notice your body. As you breathe out slowly, appreciate each quiet sensation. Right now, without your instruction, your brain is sorting today, deciding what matters, what can soften, what is worth keeping. You don't need to do anything. It knows how. Notice the gentle weight of your limbs, the soft rhythm of your breathing. You are a complete ecosystem, quietly tending to itself. Now we continue. The subconscious mind uses dreams to regulate emotional memory in a very specific way. It gradually reduces the emotional intensity attached to distressing experiences while preserving the factual content. This process, theorized by neuroscientist Matthew Walker at the University of California, Berkeley, is sometimes called sleep therapy. Over successive nights of REM sleep, the raw emotional charge attached to a painful memory softens. While the informational content remains accessible, time heals, and sleep is the mechanism through which that healing moves. In post-traumatic stress, this process is disrupted in a specific and measurable way. The brain's ability to soften emotional intensity during REM sleep becomes impaired. So traumatic memories are revisited with their original weight intact, repeating without the gradual gentling that healthy sleep would normally bring. This neurological understanding has changed how clinicians approach trauma treatment, addressing the disrupted sleep architecture alongside the conscious cognitive experience. The subconscious is not telling those who struggle in this way that something is wrong with them. It is showing that healing has been interrupted, and that it is still trying. Dreams often present the subconscious perspective on relationships. When someone appears repeatedly in your dreams, it rarely means your subconscious is simply processing that person. More often, it means you are processing an unresolved feeling that person represents. A boundary not set, a conversation not finished, a grief not fully expressed. The figure in the dream is a projection. What it says, and how you respond to it, may reflect more about your inner life than any amount of waking analysis. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between imagined and real emotional experiences with the same clarity the conscious mind does. Brain imaging studies show that vividly imagining an emotional scenario activates many of the same neural pathways as actually experiencing it. This is why a dream can leave you feeling genuinely moved upon waking. The subconscious processed it as real. The emotion on waking is not an overreaction. It is the honest response to something that, neurologically, happened. Children dream more than adults, and their dreams contain a higher proportion of animals and archetypal figures than adult dreams do. Researchers believe this reflects the developing subconscious mind's use of familiar, emotionally legible symbols before abstract language is fully established. As language develops, dreams gradually shift toward more human-centered, interpersonal scenarios. But the symbolic grammar established in childhood, the logic of dream imagery, appears to persist throughout life, operating beneath the linguistic surface. The subconscious mind uses dreams to process anticipatory feelings, concern about things that have not yet happened. Studies have found that students dream significantly more about upcoming examinations than about equivalent past events. Athletes dream about competition before the event, not after. The subconscious is preparing, rehearsing, and evaluating possibilities before the conscious mind has formally decided to worry. It is not waiting for permission to look ahead on your behalf. Problem-solving during sleep is a well-documented phenomenon, not a romantic idea. Research from the University of Lübeck, published in Nature, showed that participants who slept between learning a mathematical task and attempting to solve a hidden rule were more than twice as likely to discover the solution as those who did not sleep. The subconscious mind, during sleep, was restructuring the information, finding relationships the conscious mind had missed. Sleep is not rest from thinking. It is a different kind of thinking. Creative insight during dreams has been described throughout scientific history. Auguste Kekule later described an image from a dream, a shape curling back upon itself, which he credited with suggesting the ring structure of the benzene molecule. Whether the account reflects what literally occurred, historians have noted it may carry some embellishment in the retelling, but what it illustrates remains neurologically real. The subconscious mind, released from linear reasoning, is capable of structural associations that waking thought often cannot reach on its own. The subconscious mind communicates not only through dream content, but through dream tone, the overall emotional atmosphere of a dream, its quality of light, its pace, its sense of safety or unease, often contains more meaningful information than the specific images or events. A dream that feels inexplicably heavy may be carrying unexpressed grief. A dream that feels strangely luminous may reflect an emotional release that has already begun below the surface of awareness, before the conscious mind has registered it. Cultural background shapes dream content significantly, but not the emotional core. Research comparing dream reports across many cultures has found consistent similarities in the emotional concerns that dreams address. Relationships, safety, belonging. The specific symbols differ. A house in one culture and a temple in another may carry the same psychological content. The subconscious speaks in the dialect of your experience, but the language beneath the dialect is shared. The subconscious mind processes social disconnection with particular attentiveness during dreaming. Studies using dream content analysis have found that scenarios involving exclusion and isolation appear at significantly higher rates than their frequency in waking life would predict. This reflects the deep biological weight the brain assigns to social belonging. For a social species, relational disconnection carries real significance, and the subconscious reflects this, giving it more attention in the architecture of dreams than its surface occurrence might suggest. Nightmares serve a function that is distinct from ordinary dreaming, and distinct, too, from the disrupted sleep of clinical trauma. In otherwise healthy sleep, persistent nightmares about a specific theme are understood by many researchers not as signs of a disturbed mind, but as signals of an unresolved concern that has not yet received adequate conscious attention. This is different from the impaired REM processing of post-traumatic stress. Here, the subconscious is not stuck. It is simply returning, with patience, to a door it believes still needs to be opened. The subconscious mind in dreams has access to physical sensations in a way that waking consciousness often doesn't. People recovering from illness frequently report dreams that anticipate physical changes before they become consciously apparent. Athletes describe dreams that accurately reflect muscle fatigue or physical strain. This may reflect the subconscious integration of somatic signals, information from the body that the conscious mind, occupied by external demands, has not yet fully registered. The subconscious is listening to your body even when you are not. The concept of the shadow self, introduced by Carl Jung and still relevant in contemporary psychology, refers to aspects of personality that have been suppressed or set aside. Jung proposed that these elements appear in dreams as unfamiliar or uneasy figures. Modern research supports the underlying idea. Suppressed self-concepts do appear more frequently in dream narratives than in waking self-reflection, suggesting that the subconscious maintains a more complete portrait of the self than the conscious mind typically allows. The evidence gathered so far points towards something worth pausing on. The subconscious mind, at work in your dreams, tonight and every night, is not a stranger. It is the most honest, attentive, and persistent part of you, doing the work of integration, healing, rehearsal, and recognition while the rest of you rests. What it is telling you in dreams may be the most carefully considered message you will ever receive. Take a slow breath. Notice how your body has begun to settle. The small quieting that comes after a while of simply listening. We're wandering through the science of the sleeping mind together, you and I, and everyone else drifting through this quiet tonight. There's nowhere else to be. Let's continue. The subconscious mind uses a specific process during dreaming called emotional tagging, marking certain memories with emotional significance before transferring them to long-term storage. Memories that receive strong emotional tags are more durable and more easily retrieved. This means the subconscious is not just preserving your experience, it is curating it, deciding, based on emotional weight, what deserves to be part of the permanent story of your life. The sleeping brain shows a remarkable capacity for metaphorical thinking. During dreaming, abstract emotional states are routinely translated into concrete physical experiences. Feeling burdened becomes the experience of carrying something too heavy to lift. Feeling confined becomes a locked room or an unreachable exit. Feeling disconnected becomes being lost in an unfamiliar city. The subconscious is not being obscure. It is being precise, using the most vivid language available to it. Positive relationships support richer, more integrative dreaming. People who report high levels of social support and relational security in waking life tend to have dreams that are more emotionally varied and narratively complete. People experiencing loneliness or relational isolation tend to have dreams that are more repetitive and more focused on unease. The subconscious dream environment reflects the emotional conditions of waking life with quiet accuracy. When sleep is shortened, the emotional landscape of the following day becomes more tender. Responses feel less balanced, choices feel less clear, and the capacity to regulate difficult feelings decreases. These are exactly the capacities that dreaming quietly restores. Given time, when sleep is cut short, the subconscious loses the time it needs to complete its work. The emotional residue from unprocessed experiences accumulates, making the following day harder to move through with ease. The subconscious mind in dreams sometimes performs what researchers call prospective memory consolidation, not just reviewing the past, but preparing for anticipated future events. Brain imaging studies have found that future relevant scenarios are rehearsed during REM sleep, activating the same neural pathways that will be needed when those scenarios actually occur. The subconscious is not only an archivist, it is also a quiet planner, working through what tomorrow might ask of you while tonight is still at rest. Dreams involving flying are among the most universally pleasurable dream experiences reported across cultures. Sleep researchers associate them most commonly with periods of increased ease, creative energy, or positive change in waking life. The sensation of effortless elevation, of moving through space without resistance, appears to represent the subconscious expression of a psychological state, the experience of being unencumbered, capable, free from what usually weighs you down. The subconscious mind processes grief in dreams across a very long timeline. People who have experienced loss often report vivid, emotionally resonant dreams involving the person they have lost, sometimes for years afterward. These dreams are not signs of incomplete healing. They appear to be an active part of the healing process. The subconscious continuing to integrate a loss that is, by its nature, never fully finished. Many people describe these dreams as among the most meaningful experiences of their grief. Identity consolidation happens, in part, during dreaming. Adolescents, who are actively constructing a sense of self, experience more emotionally complex and identity-focused dreams than younger children or most adults. The subconscious appears to use the relative freedom of the dreaming state to explore different versions of self, rehearsing who you might become, what you value, what you feel about your own potential. Some researchers describe dreaming during this period as a kind of identity laboratory. The language of the subconscious in dreams is not always symbolic. Sometimes it is startlingly direct. People frequently report dreams in which a figure they trust says something simple and clear, something they have been circling in waking life. Let it go. You already know. It's safe now. Whether these figures represent other people or aspects of the self is less relevant than the message itself, which the subconscious has apparently decided needs to be delivered in the plainest terms available. Halfway through our journey, the answer is taking its full shape. What your subconscious mind is telling you in dreams is layered. It is telling you about your unfinished emotional business. It is telling you what your body knows that your mind has not yet acknowledged. It is rehearsing your responses to what unsettles you, softening the memories that were too raw to process in daylight, and quietly composing the most honest version of your inner life. The subconscious is not a mystery. It is simply a part of you that works best in the dark. Each memory you carry was altered slightly the last time you remembered it. Your mind is always rewriting itself toward meaning. And right now, in this moment, it is doing so in the most gentle way, sorting the day, softening the edges, preparing the quiet that makes tomorrow possible. Nothing needs to be solved tonight. The work is already underway, and we continue drifting. The subconscious speaks most clearly in the dreams closest to waking. In the early morning hours, as REM periods lengthen, dream narratives become more emotionally complex and more personally resonant. The dreams you half remember upon waking, the ones that leave a feeling without a clear story, are often the ones that have processed the most. The subconscious has completed its work. What remains is the emotional residue, drifting up like warmth after a fire has burned low. The same region of the brain that regulates waking emotional responses, the anterior cingulate cortex, remains active during dreaming. This means the subconscious does not simply replay emotional experience. It continues to evaluate and regulate it in real time. Dreams are not recordings. They are live performances of the emotional mind, working through its repertoire while the audience of conscious awareness rests. People who practice regular mindfulness meditation show measurable differences in dream content, greater clarity, more frequent positive emotions, and a higher rate of lucid dreaming. This may reflect the increased communication between conscious and subconscious processes that meditation appears to support. When the waking mind becomes more practiced at observing itself without judgment, the dreaming mind follows. The subconscious begins to trust the space of awareness rather than working around it. The subconscious mind communicates persistence through dream repetition. A dream that appears once carries one kind of weight. A dream that returns across days, weeks, or years carries another entirely. Researchers now understand this repetition as a signal. The subconscious returning to a concern it has determined still deserves attention, not demanding immediate action. Simply returning, patiently, to the same unresolved place. The way water finds the same quiet passage through the same stone, over and over, unhurried. Dreams have been used therapeutically for decades. Image rehearsal therapy, a technique developed by researcher Barry Krakow, teaches individuals with recurring distressing dreams to consciously revise the dream narrative during waking hours, then mentally rehearse the revised version before sleep. Studies have shown significant reductions in frequency and intensity using this approach. The technique works, researchers believe, because it allows the conscious mind to collaborate with the subconscious in a language the subconscious already speaks, the language of imagery and narrative. The subconscious mind uses dreams to explore moral and ethical questions. Studies of dream content across populations have found that scenarios involving moral considerations, responsibility, fairness, loyalty, appear more frequently in dreams than their incidents in waking life would predict. The subconscious appears to give extra time to situations where the right response is genuinely unclear. Dreams may be, among other things, a kind of ethical rehearsal, the mind working out what it believes before it is called upon to act. Color in dreams is more common than people typically report. Early surveys suggested that a significant proportion of people dreamed only in black and white. More recent research has found this was likely shaped by the prevalence of black and white television during the era when those surveys were conducted. People who grew up with color media dream predominantly in color. The subconscious uses the visual vocabulary it has been given. And color, for most people alive today, is an ordinary part of that world. The subconscious mind in dreams has a distinct relationship with time. Dream time does not follow waking time. A dream that seems to unfold over hours may occupy only minutes of clock time. Conversely, brief dream fragments may contain what feels like entire lifetimes of context. This temporal flexibility may reflect the subconscious's freedom from the linear structure of conscious experience, and its ability to hold multiple timelines, multiple emotional registers, simultaneously. Physical sensations during dreams are processed by the same sensory cortex that processes waking sensation. Dreamed touch feels like touch. Dreamed warmth feels like warmth. The subconscious does not generate experiences that the brain marks as simulation. It generates experiences that the brain receives as real. This is why the emotional impact of a dream does not fade, simply because you know, upon reflection, that it wasn't happening. The experience was, in every neurological sense that matters, real. Music heard in dreams is generated entirely by the dreaming brain, the subconscious composing original material from internalized musical memory. Paul McCartney described waking one morning in 1964 with the melody for Yesterday already present. Complete, unhurried, arrived without effort. He checked with people around him to make sure he hadn't heard it somewhere before. The subconscious had composed something entirely whole while he slept. The most original creative voice any of us may ever have is the one that works in the dark. The subconscious mind processes longing in dreams with particular richness. The people, places, and experiences that we desire but cannot fully reach, in waking life, appear in dreams with unusual vividness and emotional texture. The subconscious does not ration access to what we long for. It creates it freely, giving form to the internal experience of wanting, not to trouble you, but to allow the emotional experience of desire to be fully felt and gently released. Dreams reflect not only what we feel, but what we believe. Studies examining the dream content of individuals with varying belief systems have found that core beliefs about safety, about others, about one's own worth, appear consistently in the emotional architecture of dreams, even when not explicitly represented in the content. A person who believes the world is fundamentally safe tends to navigate dream challenges with different ease than a person who does not. The subconscious does not operate in a belief vacuum. The subconscious mind has a natural attentiveness toward potential concerns in dreams. mirroring the waking brain's tendency to notice and evaluate difficulty. But this attentiveness is not fixed. It responds to circumstances. People in periods of genuine security and psychological well-being show reduced focus on uneasy content in dream narratives. The subconscious's watchfulness quiets when the conditions that sustain it are no longer present. It was never trying to cause distress. It was always trying to prevent it. The relationship between dreaming and identity is perhaps most visible in people navigating major life transitions. A change of role, a loss, a new beginning. In these periods, dream content becomes markedly more focused on themes of direction, location, and belonging. The subconscious is working through the question of who you are now that your context has changed. It is not mourning. It is navigating, searching through the imagery of sleep for the thread that connects who you were with, who you are becoming. At this point in our journey, we understand something that most people move through entire lifetimes without quite naming. The subconscious mind in dreams is not telling you things you don't understand. It is telling you things you already know but haven't fully felt. Dreams are not riddles. They are reminders, delivered in the only language the subconscious has access to, by the part of you that has been paying attention all along. The subconscious processes self-criticism in dreams differently from sadness or concern. Self-critical dream content tends to be more diffuse, expressed as a pervasive sense of inadequacy or of being observed unfavorably, rather than through specific scenarios. The subconscious appears to reflect this quality accurately. The way self-criticism saturates experience broadly, rather than presenting as a single localized feeling. Noticing this tone in a dream may be one of the gentlest signals that the subconscious is ready to help carry something you have been holding alone. Dreams reflect our attachment patterns, the deep relational templates formed in early life that shape how we relate to others throughout our years. People with secure attachment tend to dream of interpersonal scenarios that resolve with connection and understanding. People with anxious attachment styles frequently dream of relational uncertainty. Avoidantly attached individuals often dream of being alone in ways that feel neither distressing nor particularly welcome. The subconscious is not creating these patterns. It is displaying them, without the social editing that waking life tends to require. The subconscious mind appears to maintain a kind of emotional awareness during dreaming, drawing from multiple domains of life simultaneously. A dream may contain imagery that touches on work, a childhood memory, a current relationship, and a physical concern all at once. The subconscious does not organize its concerns the way the conscious mind does, separately and sequentially. It allows everything to inform everything else, weaving the full complexity of inner life into a single, continuous narrative. Sleep quality directly affects the quality of subconscious processing. Fragmented sleep, interrupted by noise, light, or physiological disruption, reduces the depth of emotional integration that dreaming can achieve. People who consistently experience fragmented sleep report greater difficulty regulating emotion and lower tolerance for ambiguity. The subconscious needs sustained time and relative quiet to complete its work. Sleep quality is not simply a matter of physical rest. It is a matter of quiet maintenance for the inner life. The subconscious communicates through the absence of expected content as meaningfully as through its presence. A dreamer who would typically dream of a significant person in their life and then stops dreaming of that person entirely may be marking At a subconscious level, a shift in emotional relationship, the disappearance of a recurring figure from dreams may indicate that the emotional work associated with that person has been completed, or that the subconscious has turned its attention elsewhere, to what has now become more present. Healing, whether physical or psychological, is accompanied by measurable changes in dream content. People recovering from illness or injury often dream of movement, strength, or restoration. People making genuine progress in therapy frequently report shifts in recurring dream themes, with outcomes gradually changing from ones of difficulty to ones of resolution. The subconscious tracks recovery. It registers healing before the conscious mind has acknowledged it. Dreams may be among the earliest indicators that something inside you is genuinely becoming easier. The subconscious mind in dreams does not experience endings the way the conscious mind does. Studies of dream content in people navigating serious illness have found that death-related imagery, when it appears, is often peaceful, transitional, or accompanied by a sense of completion rather than fear. Many researchers interpret this as the subconscious performing its deepest function, integrating experience into meaning, finding the largest possible container for the smallest possible moment. The subconscious, at the end as at the beginning, is trying to make sense of what it means to be here. The human brain spends approximately 6 years of an average lifespan in active dreaming. 6 years of nightly conversations between the conscious and subconscious mind, processing, healing, rehearsing, and creating. 6 years of communication in a language most people are never formally taught to read. The messages have always been arriving. The question of whether to pay attention to them is, ultimately, a question about how much of your own inner life you would like to know. Gratitude and emotional richness in waking life are associated with more vivid and emotionally complete dreaming. When the waking mind is engaged, curious, and relationally full, the subconscious has more to work with, and the dreaming that results tends to be more narratively intricate, emotionally varied, and subjectively meaningful. Tending to your waking life is, in a very direct sense, also tending to your dreams. The two are not separate. They are the same conversation, continued across the threshold of sleep. By now, the answer to our central question is fully present. The subconscious mind in dreams is not telling you anything hidden or inaccessible. It is reflecting back to you the emotional truth of your own experience, faithfully, persistently, and with a patience that asks nothing in return except that you sleep. It has been doing this your whole life, and it will do it again tonight. In the hours still to come, while these words have faded and only the quiet remains, the subconscious will continue its work, gently, precisely, without hesitation, as it always has. You might be feeling tired now. That's perfectly fine. Breathe slowly and feel the cycles. Sleep comes when you stop trying. Your sleeping brain knows how to complete its work. It does not need instruction or permission. Every night of your entire life, while you were unaware, it has been doing exactly this. You don't need to hold on to anything. Let everything unfold in its own order. We're almost there now. The subconscious mind never runs out of things to say. Every night is a new conversation, shaped by the day you just lived, the memories you carry, and the concerns quietly waiting beneath the surface of awareness. Sleep is not the absence of mental life. It is the arrival of a different kind of presence, one that requires nothing of you, one that has always been here, ready to begin again. Dreams of being lost often mark the beginning of finding. The subconscious registers transition before the conscious mind has named it. When old certainties are softening, the dream self wanders unfamiliar streets. But in those streets, doors are always opening, and something in the dream self always knows, even without a map, which direction to walk. The brain returns to the same dream images across a lifetime because some things take a long time to understand. Not because the subconscious is fixed in place, because some truths require many visits before they are ready to be received. Patience is not a failure of healing. It is the particular shape that certain healings take. Like water finding its level, gradually, without effort, in its own time. Your subconscious mind has been watching over you since you first began to dream. Before you had words for what unsettled you, it was processing. Before you understood loss, it was holding it carefully. Before you knew yourself, it was learning you. It has never stopped, even tonight. It is here, continuing the work it began before you had any name for it at all. In dreams, the body that carries you through the world rests completely, while the mind that lives inside it continues its quiet, ancient work. There is a kind of trust in that arrangement. The subconscious does not ask the body for help. It works with what it has, with memory, with feeling, with the long and patient intelligence of sleep. It has always known exactly what to do. The most significant emotional experiences of a life, love, grief, transition, discovery, leave traces in dream content that can persist for years. Not as wounds, necessarily, sometimes as landmarks. The subconscious uses the most powerful experiences of a life the way a navigator uses fixed stars, not to return to them endlessly, but to know where it is and where it is going. Sleep researchers describe a quality in some dreams called numinosity, a sense of profound significance, of having touched something real and larger than ordinary experience. These dreams are among the most widely reported and among the most quietly transformative. The subconscious is capable of generating experiences of deep meaning that the waking mind, with all its analytical tools, rarely reaches. Something in us knows what matters. We meet it most freely when the lights are out. The subconscious does not judge the emotions it processes. Concern is handled with the same careful attention as joy. Self-doubt receives the same processing time as confidence. The subconscious has no preference for the easy feelings over the difficult ones. It takes what arrives, and it works with all of it, in the dark, without complaint, on behalf of someone who may not even know the work is being done. People who speak more than one language often dream in a language that reflects their current emotional context rather than their most used language. The first language learned is often the language of deep emotional memory. The subconscious reaches for what fits, always choosing precision over convenience, always selecting the vocabulary most closely associated with the feeling it is trying to hold. The images in dreams are not decorations. Every detail the dreaming brain generates requires energy. The subconscious does not create elaborate imagery by accident. It creates what it needs to express what it needs to say. The unfamiliar house, the half-recognized face, the strange landscape just before waking, all of it is chosen, even when the choosing happens below awareness. All of it is the subconscious being exactly as specific as the truth requires. People who keep dream journals over long periods often describe a gradual sense of becoming more familiar with their own inner life. Not because the journal reveals anything the subconscious was concealing, but because writing the dreams down creates a space of conscious attention, a signal to the subconscious that its messages are being received. The subconscious, when met with genuine attention, tends to become more articulate. Dreams of water growing calm follow periods of emotional difficulty with a kind of quiet regularity that researchers have noted across populations. After grief, after sustained uncertainty, the dreams of still water tend to arrive. The subconscious has a signature for completion. When the work is done, it changes the weather. The storm passes and the surface clears, and something in the dream world feels, at last, like rest. Your brain creates entire worlds while you sleep. Every night, during deep dreaming, your mind constructs vivid experiences from memory fragments, emotions, and abstract patterns. Characters appear, conversations unfold, landscapes emerge, all generated from within. These dream worlds feel real in the moment, complete with light and texture and the particular weight of feeling. Yet they dissolve upon waking like morning mist. The sleeping brain is not resting. It is creating. The final images of a dream, felt in the moment just before waking, often carry the emotional conclusion of the night's processing. A dream that ends in resolution or calm may indicate that the subconscious has completed what it set out to do. A dream that ends without resolution may simply mean the work continues and will resume the following night in the same patient, unhurried way that it has always resumed. The subconscious does not leave things unfinished by choice. It simply takes the time that is needed. So could your subconscious change how you understand yourself? It already has. Every night, without your awareness or intervention, it has been quietly completing the work of being human, integrating, healing, preparing, and creating meaning from the raw material of your experience. You have been in conversation with your own deepest intelligence since the first night you ever slept. The conversation has never stopped. The subconscious asks nothing of you. Not your understanding, not your analysis, not your interpretation. It works regardless. But when you bring gentle attention to what it is showing you, something shifts. The conversation becomes more open. The subconscious moves more freely when the conscious mind is listening. Attention, given without demand, is the most generous thing you can offer your own inner life. Some of the most peaceful dreams occur on nights when nothing is particularly unresolved. When the subconscious has no urgent processing to complete, it sometimes simply creates beauty, a landscape of unusual light, a conversation that goes nowhere in particular but feels deeply good, a sense of warmth without a source. The subconscious is not only a quiet healer and a careful planner. Sometimes, when the work is done, it is simply a poet. Dreams change across a lifetime. The dreams of childhood carry the vivid, archetypal quality of a mind still learning to construct its world. The dreams of midlife tend toward themes of purpose and meaning. The dreams of later life often grow quieter, more accepting, more spacious. The subconscious matures alongside the conscious mind, and its dreams reflect, across decades, the changing questions of a life lived with increasing depth. the science of dreams is still a field in active discovery. New imaging technologies have allowed researchers to observe dream-related brain activity with a precision that was unimaginable only a generation ago. Each new study adds detail to a picture that has been forming slowly across centuries of human curiosity. The more we learn, the more clearly we understand that dreams are not peripheral to human experience. They are central to it. The subconscious mind is, in the end, not separate from you. It is you, the part of you that does not rest, that does not edit itself for the world's approval, that does not manage its emotional experience for the comfort of others. It is the part of you that has been paying closest attention. And what it tells you in dreams, if you allow yourself to listen, is simply the truth of what it is to be the particular, irreplaceable person that you are. That has always been the message. It has never been anything else. And so, our quiet journey through the science of the subconscious comes gently to a close. We began by understanding that dreams are not random, that the brain generates them with purpose, with emotional precision, with something very close to care. We discovered that the recurring dream is not a glitch, but a message, returning as patiently as water to a familiar shore. We found that the symbols your dreaming mind reaches for, water and houses, faces and open doors, are not abstractions. They are the most specific language the subconscious has access to. We learned that the 6 years of dreaming that fill an average human life are not lost to sleep. They are the most honest hours you will ever have. The hours when the part of you that pays closest attention is finally free to speak. And we arrived at the question worth sleeping on tonight. What has your subconscious been trying to tell you? Perhaps you already know. Perhaps the answer is not waiting to be discovered. Perhaps it has been arriving, night after night, in the only language that was ever available, waiting, without urgency, for the morning when you were finally ready to hear it. Dreams remind us that the most important conversations of a life do not always happen in daylight. Much of what integrates us, heals us, prepares us, happens in the dark, in the quiet, in the places where conscious thought dissolves and something older and more patient takes over. The subconscious mind reveals a virtue that the waking world rarely celebrates. The virtue of processing slowly, of returning gently, of trusting that healing follows its own pace. And that meaning is never rushed. Without dreams, there would be no integration, no completion of what daytime leaves unfinished. By pausing tonight to notice this quiet intelligence inside you, you have already begun to listen. In these final minutes, take the deepest breath you can, as deep as possible. Think about unity, of every memory you carry, every feeling you have ever known, every version of yourself that ever moved through the world, all of it held, right now, in this one quiet mind. You are not separate from your subconscious. You are not in conversation with a stranger. You are coming home to the most complete version of yourself, the one that has always been watching, always been patient, always been here. Let your entire being dissolve into the ocean of consciousness, into dreamless rest, into the space before thought. Prepare for deep sleep. No boundaries left, only peace. This quiet journey through the dreaming mind was made for anyone who has ever wondered what happens on the other side of sleep. A gentle share, a like, or a subscribe helps another restless mind find its way here tonight. One quiet tap, one sleepy soul at a time. The subconscious is still working right now, without your effort, without your witness. You don't need to hold any of this. It was never yours to carry. You have traveled inward tonight, through corridors most people never pause to notice. You touched the architecture of who you are, and found it more patient, more intricate, more forgiving than it perhaps seemed before you arrived. You can allow these thoughts of dreaming and memory to fade now, like the last image of a dream at dawn. Present, then softer, then simply part of everything, leaving only the quiet, unheld calm behind. Let your breathing deepen. Let your body feel heavier, as if all you have carried today is being sorted by careful, invisible hands, and is simply setting itself down. Allow sleep to carry you the way the subconscious moves, not with force, but with quiet intention, into a realm where time and weight no longer matter. If your eyes are still open, the next video is waiting for you, ready to continue the journey. But if they're closed, stay there. Stay in the darkness that feels safe and warm. Tomorrow, your dreaming mind will still be there, still tending, still weaving, still becoming. But tonight belongs to stillness. Rest well, gentle explorer. And remember, your mind is always rewriting itself toward the light. Good night.